Okay. Hey guys, welcome to OurTake. Today we're going to be reviewing Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Okay.
Well, first of all, the reason we chose this is because it's kind of a weaker weekend for movies.
Right, it is a weaker weekend.
We've got Crawl coming out this weekend.
Which is going to be legendary. No.
But this is for people who have now watched
Far From Home,
and they can't. It's like a can't get enough Spider-Man type deal.
Which is fair because he's like one of the most beloved Marvel characters.
Yeah.
But Into the Spider-Verse, within the past month, it came on Netflix, and it was something we saw in theaters.
We did see it in theaters, and weren't we glad we saw it?
Oh my god! Oh, that's right, because we saw it
in IMAX.
Yes, like the equivalent of IMAX, and I remember
it's beautiful.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah.
It was so cool, but rewatching it at home, I was like, it's just as effective at home, it's for me by far the best Spider-Man movie.
I'm not going to say by far.
Oh, see, I am.
I know.
Oh my God.
I know you are, but I personally have an affinity for the Sam Raimi Spider-Man and Spider-Man.
Especially that third one, right?
No, God.
Dude,
honestly, they should quit making that movie,
and stop putting it in production, and maybe people will just forget about it.
Yes, I don't think when you buy a complete set of those movies,
Into the Spider-Verse should just be the third movie.
I mean, kind of.
Well, see,
they reference that movie.
See, that's what I was saying. I found that hilarious. Was that immediately
they almost make it seem like that the third movie is part of this universe.
No, it is.
Yeah.
Because remember,
he's like, we do this.
Yeah, he was like,
we want to forget about this.
We want to forget about this. It's him dancing.
Yeah.
And that, okay. First off.
Anyway, I put Spider-Man 2, the second Spider-Man, in this category.
Okay.
The first one's a little bit below that, but
I told you, the Tom Holland ones I think are
Oh, I really like this Tom Holland Spider-Man.
Mainly, you're right. You know what? The second Raimi Spider-Man is excellent.
Yeah.
The first one, it was a good origin movie, but
I still like.
I know.
I still like the first one too.
But Into the Spider-Verse
is the best. I'm not going to say that it is better than any other Spider-Man movie made. But it's just only slightly ahead of Spider-Man 2 for me.
Well, this is going to sound kind of not pretentious, but it's like to me about Into the Spider-Verse. There's like no faults almost. Like I don't know if I'd say it's perfect, but it's like, is there something that you would say like, oh, like I didn't think, like I felt almost every aspect of this movie is good. Oh. It the art in this looks awesome because it's like you're watching a comic book.
Yeah, and it's done really well.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And like the action bits in this are super fun to watch, and they're able to do things because it's an animated movie. They're able to do things that they otherwise wouldn't be able to do in live action movies.
Yeah.
So that in itself is like okay.
But on top of it looking good, the story's fantastic.
Well, it's clever. It's really funny. It also has.
There's some emotional moments.
I was about to say from numerous different places. There's some real, like emotional depth to it, and by the end, you're like walking away. You're like, I laughed. I almost cried. I didn't cry in this movie, but I was like,
there's some emotional part when his dad comes to the door.
Yeah, I don't think I'm trying to remember back in the theaters.
You'll get misty-eyed.
It's definitely something where it's like I could definitely see someone crying.
Anyway.
But it's like it is such a well-rounded and just good story. Also, like how they handle all the universes is really just it's cool. Excuse me, and it's just so well done. And I love how they keep introducing characters and how they keep introducing them. It's
more time.
Let's go over this one last time. But they do that I think 6 times, and it starts immediately with. Who I didn't know who it was until I saw the credits in the theaters. The first Peter Parker is Chris Pine.
Yeah.
Who argued, and this is another thing I'd like to talk about. He's the biggest star of the movie.
Probably.
And it's something that I think some animated films have gone away from, which is they tend to cast big names
opposed to good voice actors.
Exactly. And in this, while these aren't like voice actors, like people who just dedicate their life to doing voice acting, but they got people who can voice act really well.
Yeah.
I mean, you have
Jake Johnson,
Liev Schreiber, Katherine Hahn as Doc Ock. I thought
she was really good.
Yeah. Bailey. I mean, John Mulaney this was his first, I think, movie credit, and he's hilarious. I mean, I'm just a fan of John Mulaney, but when he's fighting at the end fight scene where he drops an anvil on
or when they're saying their goodbyes and he hands him the hammer and he goes, "It'll fit in your pocket."
It'll fit in your pocket.
And it's like the size of him.
Yeah. It's really funny.
Do animals talk in this universe?
Or am I gonna creep him out? And he's already talking. Where are you getting these toys?
I take them.
And then Nicolas Cage as that, like, he was perfectly cast as the Spider-Man noir.
Yeah.
Because he's dark and he's brooding. But he also has some really funny lines where he's holding the Rubik's Cube and he's like, "I don't know what this is, but I'm gonna take it." And he has to take it.
And he keeps trying to guess what it is.
He's like, is this purple?
Is this purple?
And they're like, "Oh my god, this is amazing." And then Jake Gyllenhaal is that, like, it's that self-degrading kind of humor. Jake Johnson, sorry. I guess I'm still thinking about Far From Home.
Yeah.
Well, that's my bad. But he has that bit at the beginning where you're introduced to him. It's basically like just the sad single life of it's like if everything kind of went wrong for Spider-Man, but not in a dark way. But it's that self-deprecating humor where it's he's like, "I handled it like any man would," and then he's like in the shower crying. You see a piece of pizza lying on like the ground.
Yeah.
He's just like, "Oh god." But like every character is,
but like the fact
great.
the point of but his character breaks up with Mary Jane because he doesn't want to have kids.
He didn't want to have kids.
And then throughout the movie, he's starting to realize, do I want kids?
No, that's the best line to me, is where he's proud of Miles.
Yeah.
And he's like, "I'm so proud of you, bud. Do I want kids?" And there's something like flying at him. But it's like a split second of like, I do. I think I want kids. Also, going back to just great voice actor, but also it ties into something I love about superhero movies. Usually
well, we didn't even talk about Miles Morales.
Well, see, this is what I was getting to Miles.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Miles. First of all, his home life is all like I love Brian Tyree Henry as his dad, but
mm-hmm.
Miles is like really well written in the sense that he is like truly a kid.
Yeah.
And to see how he behaves is truly kid-like, and to see him just be thrust into this
something a little different about this movie in that I don't think either one of us caught until I didn't really catch it until the end of the movie. Was like he was in middle school.
We discussed it when we were rewatching it. It was like oh yeah, like I was like, it's Brooklyn. It says Brooklyn Vision's middle. So it was like, oh, it's a middle school.
But he says it at the beginning. Like, there's a mission to it.
It was like, oh, I guess he's like a middle schooler.
Yeah.
And so you're like, oh, he's really young. And that was something we discussed, is how almost every Spider-Man movie, at the end, he gets the girl,
mm-hmm.
right? There's a love interest. And in this, it's more of like, he's just trying to make friends. And it was strange kind of seeing it at the end, but it's just as effective. Which is like, he doesn't, in a sense, he gets Gwen Stacy, but it's like Gwen Stacy's a little older than him, right?
Yeah.
You know, Haley Steinfeld's awesome, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that was something I was like, that's interesting. Because usually, and in this movie, Spider-Man does.
He talks about not feeling alone, and then at the end he goes, "I even introduced myself to my roommate."
Oh, yeah, who I'm assuming is just going to be like his sidekick, I guess. I'm not too familiar with the Miles Morales comics, but just side note, he wouldn't have been able to breathe out of that suit at the end. He just spray painted the suit. He would have been huffing paint, just tripping balls.
I mean, that could have been the whole last act.
Maybe.
The last
Maybe.
Act, the last act's kind of trippy. I mean, he could have just been like, it could have been making it all up. Something's going on up here.
Him and Charlie.
What is Miles Morales and Charlie?
Well, you know what's... But Miles also, like... He lives in, like, kind of... Not like a rundown... It's not like rundown, but he's an inner city kid.
No, I don't think it's run down at all. His mom was a nurse, his dad was a cop.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's not run down, but he's not... Maybe I'm just used to, like...
It's a New York City apartment. I bet you they're paying like $1 million
I know,
for that.
It's got to be like $2,000 a month, easy for.
I would guess
normal,
triple that.
Yeah, that's fair. But we
live in Georgia. The cost of living here is nothing.
It's nothing. So Miles though, he is. It's something I liked was how it takes him about 80% of the movie to truly realize his powers.
Yeah, and it takes him a while, and that's part of it too. Is they don't want him,
and that's where that like emotional depth comes in. Is he was there to witness the death of
Chris Pine's Spider-Man,
Peter Parker.
Which is the Spider-Man from
Miles Morales' universe.
Well, which is...
Or the Sam Raimi...
It's that Sam Raimi universe.
Yes.
You witnessed that Spider-Man's death.
Right. And you can tell he feels almost guilty because he was there. Spider-Man was saving him at the time. And he also... Spider-Man was like, I need you to get this USB drive. I need you to do all this. And he feels like personally responsible and feels like I have to do this myself. Mm-hmm. And for the rest of the other Spider-Men or Gwen Spider-Woman or Spider-Pig, whatever, they all are like he doesn't have it.
Yeah.
And it's him like having to come to terms with like he knows he's not good, but he's trying his absolute best, but he just can't. He can't do it, and then when it finally pays off... But it ties
into Spider-Man so well, because Spider-Man's constantly fighting with that.
Yeah.
Is the fact that he is just a kid.
Yeah. But this is even more so because he's like 13.
Yeah.
Spider-Man I always took was like high schooler.
No, he is in high school, but apparently
Miles Morales, I guess, yeah, is like a middle schooler. He's a kid. I don't know. He's really good. Shamik Moore is the voice actor.
And if you don't know who that is, it's the kid from Dope.
Yeah.
And if you haven't seen Dope, go watch Dope. That's a great movie.
I like Dope. I think you liked it a little more than I did.
I was really entertained by it.
It was funny. It was funny. It was a good movie. The other thing I'd like to bring up is how the villain is also well written. Kingpin voiced by Liev Schreiber. You're accustomed to Kingpin just being just like this ruthless criminal, which he is in this universe. But he's basically trying to, when you introduce to what he's doing, it's just like a super collider.
And he's trying to bring back his family who has died.
Because
he was getting ready to kill Spider-Man and they saw
that. And then
they ran away from him. They're like, what are you, are you some kind of monster? Because he's getting ready to kill him with his hands. And they witness that, they run away from him, and he realizes they're scared, and he feels bad about that. But then they drive off, they leave the apartment,
and get in a car wreck,
and they die.
And so it's like, but what he's trying to do is by these super colliders going head to head, that he could possibly bring back his wife and kid from another dimension.
Yeah,
and it's like. It goes from this is just this criminal that doesn't like Spider-Man being around to you're not on his side, but you totally understand
why he blames Spider-Man, because him and Spider-Man were fighting.
Yeah,
he blames Spider-Man and what his family saw on Spider-Man.
But it's also like he's going. The threat is obviously that they could create a black hole underneath New York and just wipe out millions of people. But he's going to any lengths possible to try and get his wife and kid back. And it's just like, you understand. So right there, it's not like the villain's motivations are not dumb, which sometimes is a problem for me in certain superhero movies. Yeah. And in this, I wouldn't say immediately, but it's, what is it, like halfway through the movie is when you figure out that piece of information.
I think that's part of what makes most of the Spider-Man movies pretty good. Is most of the villains they have solid motivations.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, we like almost all of the Marvel movies we would consider good movies, but there are some that have weak villain. Like the motivation in the villain is weak.
It's not. Usually it's like if I'm giving it something, not a negative review, but it's like if I have to bring up cons of the movie, usually I'm like, well, the villain was not good. Usually it's something where it's like
they're just power hungry.
Yeah. What were like some of your favorite parts of this movie?
There's some good. There's so many good parts. I love when they're breaking in to Doc Ock's office. I think that is hilarious. They find out he can go invisible, and they're trying to steal the computer.
And then also a part of the plan was stealing a bagel.
Yeah.
And they were like, and I'll grab a bagel, and they were like running out. But also that's where you figure out that doctor is Doc Ock. Because it's funny how she's like all excited because she sees Jake Johnson's Peter Parker, and she's like, it's a Spider-Man from a new dimension, and he's like, yeah, well, whatever. And then she says something, and he's like, what did you say your name is again? And she's like, Dr. Olivia Octavius.
I also love how they incorporated the uncle.
Yes. Oh,
Spider-Man's uncle always dies.
And in this, Miles Morales'
talk about another good.
Mahershala Ali. Mahershala Ali is like, he is top 5 actor working today for me.
He's really good.
And it's honestly, if I had to give a complaint about this movie, it's like, I wanted more Mahershala because I think he's awesome.
Talk about a major, like all Spider-Man's uncles.
He plays the Prowler. His uncle is someone he feels comfortable talking to about anything.
Yeah.
His dad is someone that looks after him and he clearly loves him, but he doesn't. If he had to turn to someone to talk about something, he would turn to his uncle.
His uncle understood where he was coming from.
Yeah. And his uncle supported certain things that his dad didn't. And not that these things were like bad. It was just his dad didn't especially
understand the artistic side.
Yes. Yeah. Like the graffiti and all that. And
that there's more to life than just going to school and getting better. And his dad is not a bad. His dad's a really good dad.
And he is a good. And that's where that scene.
But anyway, back to the.
But in this, Mahershala, the Prowler
is a bad guy.
And then it's that moment where he figures out he has Miles Morales' Spider-Man, like he's choking him, and then he takes off his mask. Or no, Miles Morales takes off his mask, and that's where he's like, fuck. Like, I'm not going to kill my nephew.
Yeah.
And then that's when Kingpin shoots him. And you're right, that's where I loved how they incorporated, like, there's
the death of an uncle.
The death of an uncle. And an uncle that was a major part of his life.
And then what the uncle tells him. That was like almost a tear-jerking moment, too.
What exactly did he say?
He goes, you could be the best of us.
Yes.
Like, he goes, I see it in you. Don't give up.
Yeah.
Keep fighting for what you're fighting for. You could be the best of us.
Yeah. I also liked how his, the dad and the uncle didn't quite get along.
There was respect.
They were family.
Yeah. And
for them to his dad all of a sudden was hit like hard because he sees Spider-Man, Miles Morales over the Prowler's body. And I liked that kind of it's something that you usually see in a movie like this is all of a sudden the father would say, like, blame Spider-Man, in which he did, but then it continues to last. And it would drive, like, usually in movies like this, it would drive the dad nuts, and he would become a villain himself. And in this, it was a pretty quick turnaround as to see, like, Spider-Man wasn't quite the bad guy that I thought he was.
Yeah.
And to see him turn, and the fact that he's a cop. And some cops don't like Spider-Man. And they jokingly bring that up. He's like, he comes in, swings in. He's always wearing a mask. Like he's never in danger. He goes, the boys in blue, they're always out there, no mask on, fighting crime. They get no respect. Oh man, but this movie.
What do you give this movie?
Oh, I give it an A. I think there's no dull moments for me either.
No, and there's not really many. I mean, I can't think of a flaw.
Like, but that's where I'm like, I don't think I put it perfect. So
No.
to which somewhere along the line, there's got to be something that is not really a flaw, but something that's like that maybe could have been done better. But I can't think of it.
It's an A though.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's an A.
Oh, and we didn't even mention the music used in this.
Yeah.
Well, the music's good, but it fits the style.
Oh, boy, it fits.
And Miles, just the story of Miles
Who
Morales.
Miles is.
It fits it well.
Yeah. And they got like awesome rappers on it. Like they got Vince Staples and Denzel Curry, and I know Lil Wayne apparently was in this. But then obviously there was the hit Sunflower.
Yeah.
That's how the movie starts off, and it's like immediately you're like that whole opening scene where you're introduced to the art, the humor, the music, like everything is kind of thrown at you, and you immediately know what this movie's gonna be kind of like. And for me, it was just an awesome way to open the movie because you're like, this movie's gonna be great.
Yeah.
Like it's just gonna be good. I can tell.
Yeah, we can't recommend it enough.
Yeah, it's on Netflix.
It's on Netflix.
Like,
I mean, if you don't go to the movies this weekend, turn on Netflix and watch.
And I'm sure, like something else. This is usually when a movie's this good. I'm like, oh. Sometimes I'm like, I think of a sequel might ruin it. I want them to make like 5 more of these.
Yeah, and they definitely leave it open for sequels.
Yeah, and they do. But it's like, as long as they bring back the same people, as long as Phil Lord is writing it, and Phil Lord and Christopher Miller are still producing it, because they directed 21 Jump Street and the Lego Movie, and they directed the first bit of Solo, and then they kicked off.
Yeah.
And they did Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs as well. Like, they
have a unique comedic style.
And it works every time for me. And it also helps that they're smart writers. You know, like what they are able to accomplish is just really good. But as long as they're still involved, I'm like, fuck, just give me more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't recommend this movie enough. I loved this movie. It gets, for me, there's certain things you see in the background, like the second and third time you watch this, it's just, and they're usually jokes that it's like, you didn't have to put that in there, but you did.
Yeah. We could keep rambling about this all day. But, again, I give it an A. It's on Netflix. See it if you haven't already. If you've already seen it, watch it again.
Yeah.
It's just good.
So.
All right. And, we'll catch you next time on OurTake.
See ya.